Annual cycle step 5, fertilize as needed. Over time, fertilizing will become less necessary as the living soil takes over and does this job for you. However, when setting up a food forest, it may be helpful to use Epsom salts, rock dust minerals, or organic fertilizers like blood, bone, fish, feather, and alfalfa meals to enhance your soil. And there are other options too. But here are some sources of free fertilizer. Mulch is our primary fertilizer. As time goes on, you will have more mulch from your trimmings and rely less on having mulch delivered. Worms and other soil life will break down the mulch and turn it into food for the plants. Fireplace ashes are another free fertilizer. When we burn wood in the fireplace, the fire reduces the wood to ash and burnt char, which they call biochar, which contains the mineral components of the wood. When you turn the ashes out onto the mulch and the rain soaks them down into the mulch, you add the same minerals that trees need to grow strong wood trunks and stems. So add that ash onto your mulch layer as fertilizer. Human urine makes a perfect NPK fertilizer and a free alternative to chemical fertilizers. The impacts ripple far beyond the nutrient value of the urine. It shows that our Creator designed us to live in and with gardens and gave us everything we need. 95% of the urine each person produces per day is water, and 5% contains the macronutrients in all-purpose store-bought fertilizers. Nitrogen, which they use the letter N to stand for nitrogen. Phosphorus, they use the letter P to stand for phosphorus. And potassium, they use the letter K to stand for potassium. So when you see store-bought fertilizers, you'll often see NPK, and then it will have a ratio of, like, sometimes I've seen 1:1:1 or different things like that, different ratios. But urine has a 10:1:4 ratio of NPK, meaning 10 nitrogen, 1 phosphorus, and 4 potassium. Urine also contains some trace micronutrients, including sulfur, magnesium, and calcium. Another positive effect of using urine is that the phosphorus is in the form that's available to plants in a usable form, requiring no additional processing before absorption. The concentration of nutrients in the urine can be diluted or concentrated by either drinking more fluid or sweating, but this will not affect the total nutrient content. I recommend peeing directly into your garden as much as possible, especially if you have mulch over it. For guys, this is easy, but for gals, not so much, because even when we squat low to the ground, we are likely to get our ankles splashed with pee. However, I found a simple solution for peeing in the garden using a funnel. I put a funnel into any watering pipe. You could put a funnel on the end of a hose and pee through that. In the permaculture world, there are many urinal system designs to choose from, and you can even find pocket-sized funnels designed to allow women to stand and pee. So that's a good free fertilizer. Manure can be beneficial, but look for manure from animals grown without hormones or chemicals. Otherwise, skip it. Like, a lot of times horse manure can be considered good, but if these horses are on a lot of chemical medicines or getting shots, you don't need that. So skip that. So birds and bats naturally drop their dung into a food forest. So there's another reason to appreciate them. Consider keeping chickens or turkeys for the fertilizing waste they produce. And chickens, turkeys, and ducks, how they work in the food forest. Chickens and turkeys exemplify the word hangry, hungry and angry. These birds are always ready to eat and poop. When setting up your food forest, you can bring them in to eat up extra insects like ant infestations and other things. But of course, they will eat most existing weeds or planted seedlings that they find too. All the while, they plop big droppings of chicken manure on top of the soil as they go, so they can help to prepare the ground initially. Once you have your plants planted, you will have to ensure they don't scratch up your new seedlings. You can keep them in a coop or have a barrier to prevent them from entering where they will destroy crops. You can also use what they call a chicken tractor, which is like a movable cage. These birds take a lot of responsibility to care for 24/7. They need to stay in a safe coop where they can nest, always protected from predators, unless you are right there watching them. You must provide them with chicken food and a steady drinking water supply. A permanent coop or a movable chicken tractor are two housing options. The portable chicken tractor is a moving cage that can be placed in an area for a while, allowing the chickens to eat and scratch up the ground, then moved to a new location so that they can repeat the process there. In each place, the chicken tractor leaves behind weed-free, scratched up, and fertilized land areas for planting new crops. Sometimes they can be fun and cute, especially when they are young. This is chickens and turkeys and ducks, but they can be appallingly nasty to one another too. Male chickens or roosters and male turkeys are downright beastly. Avoid them if you are a sensitive soul because they attack people and other chickens and turkeys. Some females or hens can be sweet and friendly to people. We had one hen that used to sit in a chair and watch sports alongside my hubby. Some sat on our laps. But on the other hand, sometimes they may peck the head of another chicken until they kill it. So pecking orders are actual, and the term refers to the basic pattern of social organization within a flock of poultry, in which each bird pecks another lower in the scale without fear of retaliation, and submits to pecking by one of higher rank. So the most significant benefits of chickens and turkeys are enriching the soil and providing eggs, and they can also make you laugh at times. The downsides are that they require constant supervision and maintenance, and eventually they'll die. If you're considering adding them to your food forest, you can begin your research on this link below, which I have www.backyardchickens.com. I'm sure there are plenty of other resources out there too. Lots of people also have luck with ducks too and say that they are smarter than chickens and they lay eggs and provide lots of fertilizing manure, and they like to eat snails too. We've not tried ducks yet because they want ponds of water, and we tend to have a very dry climate here. But they are worth researching to determine if they would be a good fit for you in your region. Our best experience with poultry was with a pair of female turkeys named Rosie and Daisy. They lived in our coop for over 3 years and were fun pets. They took walks around the food forest with us, even in the front yard where they could have run away. We surprised some passersby when they saw 2 giant black birds walking along our front yard beside us. But the coyote captured and ate Daisy one day, and Rosie got very sad and depressed. So we got Rosie a couple of new turkey chicks to keep her entertained, but they turned out to be male turkeys. We learned the hard way to purchase poultry only once their gender is apparent and only to get the females. The tom turkeys that we purchased as chicks grew up, and then they killed Rosie. and they repeatedly tried to kill me too. Thankfully, my son, who has lived in Alaska and learned butchering animals and catching salmon, came and helped me process the male turkeys. They were high in fat and grease and tasted delicious.